let's say your left and right hands are out of sync when you're trying to play stuff quickly. For example, maybe like your right hand is really going, and then like your left hand kind of just really can't keep up. Like kind of do a little bit here and there, and then not so much. So, and you want, something to sound right. So more like that. So everything is nice and synced up. So what do? Well, as I said in plenty of other videos, the best thing to do for speed, for accuracy, anything, metronome. Metronome, use your metronome. It is the most efficient way to get better at any instrument. Use your metronome. So, how do you use the metronome in this case? Same way you want to build speed, same way you want to build accuracy with anything. If you're learning a rhythm, you're trying to get a lick up as fast as you can, you're trying to get a part of a song down, up to speed, anything like that, you start at a nice slow pace. I always recommend 60 beats per minute. Doesn't matter if it's quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, 16th notes, 32nd notes, doesn't matter. I always recommend start at 60 because you have a full second to get those notes in. Depending on how fast you are, like what your level is, will determine how you divide up the beat. Also depending on what it is you're trying to play. So let's say you're working on something kind of like what I was playing earlier, just something like this. Like you're just having a hell of a time getting that synced up. The right hand and the left hand just aren't working. Like one's lagging, one's going too fast. You just start at a nice tempo. I would recommend, like maybe 2 notes a beat. So hopefully you could hear that stomping. Let's get a little bit on a better surface for that. So just 2 notes a beat. And let's do this first as well. Don't use a metronome to begin with. Make sure that you can make that right hand and left hand move together simultaneously, comfortably. Get that comfortable first. I think that's another very important thing. A lot of people, including myself, can just put the metronome on and we're already good to go. We have things synced up. But if you're really having that much of a difficult time getting something synced up together with the right and the left hand, don't worry about the metronome to begin with. Get the riff down comfortably first, then put the metronome on, and then start working it up. No more than 5 beats per minute every time you play it right. So you go up and down that riff, whatever you're trying to work up to, whatever you're trying to get synced up nice and clean. Start at 60 beats a minute and then go to 65. Play it correctly once, go to 70. Play it correctly once, go to 75. Just keep doing that until you can no longer have it all synced up. And let's say you get to a point where you really can't tell if it's synced up anymore, and you really want to make sure that it is. At that point, I would say maybe back off 10 or 20 beats per minute, and then you can start doing like a bunch of times in a row, like maybe 10 to 20 times in a row at that speed where you're kind of pushing it, but it's still good. It's still synced up the way you want it to. So start off. So here's our 3-step plan now. If you're really having a hard time getting your right and left hand synced up, whatever riff you're working on, just pick one to begin with. Get comfortable playing it without a metronome first. Just make sure the left and the right hand are moving together the way that you want it to. Nice and slow. Do it as slow as you need to in order to think about everything clearly. That's one of the biggest mistakes guitar players make when they're trying to shred, is they go way too damn fast to begin with. I see it with students all the time, and it's just, you gotta slow it down first. I was the same way starting off. I was always trying to play too damn fast, and it was a big mess. But when I finally slowed down and started to really think consciously about every single movement, then I was able to be, you're more aware of what's happening. So it's like you have to be conscious of it, what you're doing. You have to be conscious of what you're doing before you can put it in your subconscious. So you make very conscious movements at a slow pace, and then once you're really feeling good with everything, then you put on the metronome, and then you start slowly bumping it up. And you always bump up slowly, so this way your mind, your hand, everything can make all the connections it needs to. Very slow increments, because if you go from 60 to 100 right away, that's too much of a jump. It's too big of a jump. So always increase, no more than 5. No more than 5. That's what I would start off with. And then once you get to a speed, let's say 150 beats per minute, you are not really sure if you're synced up anymore. So maybe back it off to 140, 130, and then start doing volume work to where you're playing that same riff like 10 to 20 times in a row. And then just really drive it into your subconscious, put that in your muscle memory as much as you can before you try and do the next speed. And if you do this and you're consistent with it, persistent every day, I mean, I would say at least 5 days a week. It's one thing that's unfortunate about speed playing and whatnot. It's if you miss a day, you can lose quite a bit of ground. You can lose quite a bit of speed. I mean, you might be 20 beats per minute slower if you miss a couple days. You might be 50 beats per minute slower if you miss a couple days. So if speed is really what you want, you gotta be consistent with this. You have to, daily stuff. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day is better than like a half hour of practice here and there. So gotta be consistent with it. I know this isn't the most glamorous answer, but there really isn't one when it comes to things like this. It's really a matter of practice, 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 practice. But hopefully this video has shown you the right way to practice in order to get those speeds. So, concluding the video, step 1, pick a riff you're trying to sync up, right hand, left hand. Learn it at a slow pace so you can think about every single movement. Once you're comfortable with that, move on to step 2. Put on the metronome, 60 beats per minute, and play along to that. Like try 2 notes a beat. That's a suggestion. And then just every time you play that riff correctly, move the metronome up by 5 beats per minute, no more. You can do less, but don't do more. And then once you reach a speed you can't tell if you're synced up anymore, back off the metronome by 10 to 20 beats per minute. And then start doing volume type training to where you're playing the same riff 10 to 20 times in a row, no mistakes, no pauses in between either. It's just got to be boom, 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 just one right after the next. Once you can do that, then you can bump it up by 5 again. So this way you're really putting everything in your subconscious and you're just syncing everything up in nice slow increments. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. If you have any questions about guitar playing, bass playing, music theory, anything at all, let me know. Thank you for watching.